This is a different style of race review, and I'm excited to share it with you. What I wanted to do with this is look at the risks and concerns I had for this race. I have about 8 or 9, and this is the Mont-aux-Sources Ultramarathon Trail Challenge here in South Africa. And I wanted to show you a sort of a technique of identifying, what works well for you, what doesn't work for you. If you look back in your past, say 5 running races or sporting events, and you're planning towards your next one, what works for you and what doesn't. So if you identify what those are and you identify a solution, that provides you an opportunity to make things go better and hopefully more often. So let's get into this. Get some amazing trail footage and of the race in the second part of this. So we'll look at the 8 or 9 risks and concerns I had, how they went, and then we'll look at the trail footage, which is just spectacular. Well, 2 weeks ago, I released a video about preparing and packing for the Mont-aux-Sources trail run. How'd it go? Well, it was a 50K race. I've done lots of marathons in my life, and marathon is 42, 50K, not that big of a difference. But we're talking about a serious mountain trail run. And the total altitude climbing was 2,800 meters. The descending was the same because it was pretty much kind of an out and back. And it took me a whopping 9 hours and 39 minutes. And yes, I stopped a couple times at feed stations, but not for long. And somehow it took me 9 hours and 39 minutes. So that relates to the training. I was in a rebuild phase. I had a calf muscle injury, and I'd only really started getting back into some serious good training about four or so months ago. And so I knew my training was not sufficient for the distance, and I have to admit I had my fingers crossed. Packing wise, I'll put a link to the video, and there'll be one in the description. I did a video on how to pack for this race, and I have to admit I was super happy with how I packed. I was wearing this trail running vest. It has kind of a bit of a backpack element in the back, but that has lots of pockets across the front. This was awesome. Now the conditions were perfect for me, very cool temperature wise, and sunny and dry. So I never had to access anything from the back, but that's where I had all my mandatory stuff, and if things go wrong, you want to have that gear. But I was really happy to have everything I kind of needed for the entire race. I didn't have to take it off the pack once, and I had some pockets, lots of pockets on the front where I could reach for gels and some electrolyte discs. Super happy with this. I had about 1.4 liters of water capacity, and I kept these filled when I went through a feed station. Again, very happy, just the right amount of liquid for me. And that goes into the fact that I didn't have any cramping. Now cramping, muscle cramping and stuff has been a huge issue for me over my running career. I've been racing in various forms for about 30 years, and yet I cannot tell you how many times I've had so many challenges with cramping, and I've been working on it, but really focused on hydration, sport drink, gels, electrolyte discs, and a few, granola bar type things that I ate along the way. Couldn't have been happier. I had a cramp twitch about 2 hours into the race, and I thought, oh no, this is the beginning of the end. Fortunately, it wasn't, and that cramp twitch went away when I hydrated in particular a lot more. Now another, I guess this is point number 5, would be no blisters or chafing. Again, for a race of this length, and I've done all kinds of cycling ultra marathons and cross-country ski ones and stuff, but there was no blistering. I was having a period for a few years where I was having tremendous amounts of blistering underneath the foot. Now that turned out to be really linked to the orthotics I was wearing, and again, not a single blister. I put skin cream that is used for cycling shorts, and I put it in the pits, the pecs, and the crotch, and not a bit of chafing, again, for 9 hours and 39 minutes of sweat and grime and stuff. No chafing. So again, big success there. No sunburns. I gooped up on, it was SPF 45 sun cream before the race. No injuries, no falls. So I was very happy to have my mountain bike gloves, which were necessary for the rope section. We had to climb down this gully, lots of loose rock and dirt, and kind of on all fours. So the mountain bike gloves were super practical, and I was really happy to have them. Also, if I tripped, you know, you don't want to have your race ruined because you got a big gash in your hand. Some people had issues with altitude. Now, where I live right now, it's at about 1,400 meters of altitude. The highest we got to in the race was 3,100 meters of altitude, so you're closing in on, you know, I guess 9,500 feet. And I did find quite a few people at the top part. We had a plateau section, and I did find a number of people struggling with the altitude. Maybe those are people who are coming from the low-lying coastal regions like Durban and Cape Town. But I didn't really find a bit of an issue, much of an issue, and you know, certainly had to just keep an eye on it. First things first, you got to do the drive. It's about a 4.5–5 hour drive from the Johannesburg-Pretoria region, depending on where you're leaving from. Dry season right now, so pretty beige out there, but absolutely exceptional drive, and it just gets, you know, prettier and prettier the closer you get to Royal Natal National Park. Now, some of you will remember what I looked like after my fall, a couple weeks before the race, so I was hoping to not repeat that. We had the race briefing.
Really want to welcome you here to Royal Natal National Park. How many newcomers are here tonight? Okay.
And having set aside my gear the night before, because my family were sleeping inside the tent, I had, you know, got dressed at 3:30 in the morning, and with my flashlight, with everything aside, nice little bit of breakfast prepared on the hood of my car, a little quick check of how I looked. You know, I guess this was leaving the campground for the 2-kilometer walk.
And you'll pick up a line of beacons on the road. You'll follow those beacons and the marshals all the way along the road, and then you'll hit the single track. There might be a little bit of bottlenecking as you hit the single track, but just stay calm there. Okay, well, I didn't officially start the race, but here we go. They started it themselves. Out they go.
The climbs were just exceptional. Now this is, you know, climbing for about 25 kilometers to start off the race. The grasses were kind of covering a fair bit of the trail for a while, so I was a bit careful on the angles.
Absolutely gorgeous morning out here. It's been straight uphill. So far 7K in. Taking me about an hour. Not too surprised. But absolutely beautiful morning. We're heading up to the peak, and the very long ladders all the way up.
Couldn't look around while you're running because there was plenty of opportunity to just absolutely bust an ankle on the rough trail in parts, and some places you just better not look off and down the hillside or the slope. And then we had the 2 chain ladder sections, and then you had to wear a harness, which I guess would have helped you a little bit, but you were just flying in the wind. The wind, you can see through most of this race, was just like incredibly strong, and just had to wait your turn to get harnessed up, and then they would call you up to the section to choose one of your ladder sections, and you just get up there, not look down too much because these were pretty long. This was, you know, ladder number 1. Up on the top of the plateau was just this surreal flat piece of trail, and it was the only flat trail on the entire race. But the view, the money shot, was just absolutely exceptional. You wanted to stay there for about half an hour and just sit, have a picnic and look around, but you know, you knew you set a long way back down because you're only about halfway at this point. This was the famous gully, which is this loose rubble that gets pretty steep and just seems to go on forever. Then, making sure you're not at risk of falling off the cliff. So slow down a lot whenever I filmed some of these sections. And then just made my way through the checkpoints.
Sorry, this is going to be rather windy. Because the wind has been blowing so hard all day. I'm almost 7 hours and 45 minutes into this trail race. I've still got just a fraction under 8K to go. So at the speed I'm cruising right now, it's a bit hard to say cruising, but it's absolutely, some of the most beautiful scenery in the world. Boy, is it windy right now. Okay, time to put my phone away so I don't trip.
Can't be so fast, I don't even see him. It's a piece of long one there. Now,
Give it the best now.
Congratulations. Fantastic effort there across the Mont-aux-Sources Ultra. He started an e-batch in his time of 9 hours and 39 minutes. Our next finisher, hand in hand with his daughter. Congratulations, Blair Walker. Also 9:39:41.
He just wanted to look around and spent hours just looking at all these cliffs and Drakensberg mountains above us. Absolutely amazing. And yeah, the finisher's medal, so to say, was a piece of rock with a plaque on it, so that's pretty cool. And I seemed a lot fresher than I was, but all in all, just an amazing race. And the scenery was perfect, dry conditions, couldn't have asked for more. So an ideal race for me. Thanks a lot for watching. I certainly appreciate the support I've had after the first video on packing, and hope you enjoyed it. Click that like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching Better Preparedness, and enjoy. I'll put some other videos up here too.